Hi friends, in our time together today, I am introducing The Burning of the Piper's Hut. It's a really fun tune, kind of emotive for us to play on our low and high D whistles. And some categorize this as a march, others as a lament, and you can play it both ways. We'll talk about that. What I want to do in our time together is I'm going to walk us through the tune one phrase at a time. It has an A part and a B part. Then in the play along with Scott section, I'll play the entire tune without any ornamentation just to give you a full sense of the flow of the tune, and you can play with me. And I add chapters so you can bounce back and forth and do that, one of those sections, as many times as you need to. Even if you read music in tabs, please use these play along with sections and the walkthroughs to help really get the tune in your brain. And to help with that, I'm adding a link at the top of the notes to this video to the page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs if you use those. So after the play along with Scott section, we'll talk about challenges you might experience, then I'll share some ornamentation and expression ideas, and then we'll chat about the history of the tune, which don't know tons, but it's what we do know is pretty interesting. And for this walkthrough, I'm using the Susato low D, and I'll put a link, or as many links as I could find helpful, in the notes to this video to where you could pick up a Susato. So, without further ado, here is the A part, a phrase at a time. I'll pause between phrases. All right, that's the A part, and that repeats. Now, here's the B part. Alrighty. Now the Susato is one of the louder low D whistles, and I'm trying to play it on the quieter end. So that's my challenge today. Now in the play along with Scott section, I'll play through the entire tune at just a moderate pace so that you could get a real feel and flavor of the flow. And if you feel like you're learning it, play along with me. entire tune. And I think it's lovely. I love how this tune flows. A few of you have asked us to look at it, and I was looking at it and I thought, this is just a delightful, emotive tune. And I like that about it. So, thinking about some challenges you might experience. Apart from learning the tune, it's not an overly difficult tune, and I think the flow of the tune's pretty memorable. The biggest challenge you're going to experience is you do have to walk up to that second octave A a number of times. But in the B part, you go, and you're there on the first octave B, and then you have to bounce off the A, and you might miss the note like I just did from a breath pressure standpoint. So remember to work on that, to add some focus to that. It's not a great challenge because the tune has a steadier pace and you probably won't get fumbly on the fingers. Thinking about ornamentation and expression, I want to hit expression first because I've really, I like to watch tons of people play something, and I've heard this played in a number of ways. I've heard it played actually a little quickly by some. So that fast, and that's probably the extreme of what I've heard it. Some of the more fun recordings, I've heard somebody start off very lament pace. And you just go through the A part once that way. And then it's as though you start over. And then when you end the A part, you're really starting to ramp up and ratchet into a higher pace. And that creates a good shift in mood. And I'm going to experiment with that because I think that's kind of fun. Or you could use the first play through the A part as the slower, more lament version. And then you could go into the faster version. Whatever floats your boat. Ornamentation, fun, have fun. And here are a couple of things I've seen now. And it's written, but don't play it that smooth. I watched some Scottish groups play it, and they're doing a lot of they're really just bouncing off of that first note, and that gives you an opportunity on the A for some ornamentation, like maybe a roll or something there. And then the B part. So you get that held A. I've seen some people list it as 3 A's. So that is the intent, that you'll probably throw a roll in, adds a variety of ornamentation to each of the 3 A's. Experiment with that as you'd like. And if you do it one way one time, do something else the next time. So you get a lot of, kind of a lot of fun there. And like in my practice session, I'll take this a little further and see what I'm feeling with it on a couple of different whistles. So let's think through the history of the tune. And one of the reasons, so it's listed like on the session website as a march. But listed as a march is really just a category based on the timing of the tune and the flow. based on what the tune is trying to convey. I like the lament lean, and yet so many groups are playing it faster because it's so fun. I really am going to try and combine the two there. But anyway, that I said the history. This is a traditional Scottish tune. But remember, traditional means older. So you're thinking like the first, I believe the first printed versions were probably leaning later in the 19th century. So 18 something or other. There are some printed versions in the second half of that century. Remember, at this time, there's a lot more flow between parts of Scotland and Ireland than there is, especially on the coasts. And so that would account for that this is became a very old traditional Irish flavored tune as well. But started off in Scotland. And the tune goes by a couple of names, but really the Burning of the Piper's Hut is the primary, and it's looking back to that period in Scotland. The Battle of Culloden was 1746, and that's when the Jacobite Rebellion was crushed. And what happened after this was there were a number of laws enacted between 1746 and 1752, a series of laws that were intended. These were specifically targeting the clan leadership and anything that was primarily clan power associated. So it was meant to suppress the authority of the clans, and so the feudal authority of the clan chiefs was removed. The wearing of tartans and carrying of weaponry, because those were powerful symbols, that was outlawed. But what happened was you get a lot of folklore around times like this, and so you read some accounts that bagpipes were outlawed and pipers their huts were burned, and there's no real evidence that took place, and that's not in the laws. You can even read some of this stuff. It's funny and interesting, but I think the title of the tune and the mood of the tune points back to the feeling of the suppression that took place at this time period. It's a look back. I'm surprised it's not always played as a lament, but a lot of people, play it differently. It's because it's such a fun, beautiful tune. But anyway, so late 19th century, first time in print, just became a very popular tune, and lots of people love it. And some of you have asked, and I thought, yeah, we need to learn that great tune because it's brilliant, and I hope you enjoy it. My friends, if this is helpful, please like the video. That helps promote our channel. If you're brand new and just checking us out because of the tune, I'd love for you to subscribe and join an amazing community of people helping each other and learning to play the whistle together. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling, my friends.